I'd like to proceed with Cherrie's presentation. And Cherrie, the one thing that I forgot to mention about you, that you're also a board member of GAIN. And I know that there's many GAIN people in this call or in this e-course as well. So you'll probably see some familiar names. But Cherrie, we really are keen to learn from you, because you've been at the forefront of really trying to put a food systems approach into practice. And we loved hearing from you. So floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Herman, for that beautiful introduction. I will always, seeing this as a pleasure to actually give a lecture in this class. And I also see a lot of people actually who are from the Sun Movement. I'm also a lead group member of Sun Movement and an advisor to Sun Business Network. Yes, my discussion is really about how to put a food systems approach into action. And Inger's presentation a while ago is such a very beautiful prelude to this, actually, because most of what she's saying actually is validating our work here in the Philippines. So I'm a social entrepreneur. My presentation actually is a mix of my company. This is the logo of my company here, and then also an AGREA Foundation, which works hand in hand with my company in terms of really capacity building of farmers, working and transitioning the farmers into sustainable and regenerative agriculture, but more so on the gender aspect and youth aspect. Um, so here's a little bit of background. Our company is called AGREA, so it's an innovative, inclusive, for-purpose agribusiness in the Philippines. So if you see, it's really about cultivation of human beings. I believe that agriculture is not just about transaction. We need to make it transformational. So in our company, we really focus on what we can do to the farmers, how we can change their lives. But at the same time, in our business model, we're into workforce nutrition, bringing nutritious food from the farms to the workforce in the Philippines, and also, making sure that the farmers have the right and decent food. We're trying to actually make a position that how we can make nutrition as an economic growth issue, also as a national security issue beyond charity. So it's quite a complicated topic, right? Because it's not only about food security, but building an entire agribusiness around it, but more so, how do we build an ecology of dignity? So our business is really unconditional, dignity to our farmers and fishers and the people in the supply chain. And so our company, if you haven't been to the Philippines, we have around 7,107 islands. So it's a country with so many islands. The problem of logistics is immense. Unfortunately, we're also suffering from climate risk. I'm not proud of this, but our country is now number one climate risk disaster in climate risk and index for the last 3 years. So what we've been doing in our company is really focus on building a one island economy. So we go island and island in the Philippines. Actually, I'm in Negros Island now. It's the sugar capital of the Philippines. And we also work with Siargao Island. It's the surfing and tourism capital of the country. So we work with different islands, and we try to work with farmers, from vegetable farmers, and now we're trying to work on sugarcane farmers, how to increase biodiversity in their farm, learning also how to transition them to agroforestry and food forest, not only reliant on sugarcane, because it's such a monocropping system, and it's not really giving a lot of income to smallholder farmers. So in everything that we do, we're always guided that we need to alleviate poverty and hunger of the farming and fishing communities. So every decision making we do in business aspect and in the foundation aspect, that's always our goal. And in all our operations, we practice zero waste, a zero hunger and zero insufficiency. Even from the supply chain, we make sure that the all of Everything that we get from the farmers is calculated based on the demand of our clients. And we try our best that our farmers are educated in terms of quality, in terms of production. So we provide insights to the farmers, how much we do with them for contract growing, so that there's minimum waste in the farm. We also focus on zero hunger. Actually, this hunger is not only the physicality of hunger, but this is really the hunger of human spirit. The hunger of someone to belong. So we work with untouched lives of around 37,000 smallholder farmers in the Philippines. And what we're trying to do is how to really connect these farmers that they are listened to, they are assessed in terms of their needs, and the design of programs that we do are actually in participatory approach. We listen to the farmers, we allow them to negotiate, we allow them to speak their minds and everything that they could share to us, so that we could better design programs and business alignments with them. And then lastly, it's really about zero insufficiency. So how do we make sure that across the supply chain, the farmers are also benefited, the supply chain is fixed, and of course, our clients and us would benefit in the process. I'll share to you this video. This was actually taken during the pandemic. It was sponsored by Irish Aid. And this is what we've been doing in the pandemic. And I always believe that if your agribusiness and of course, your nonprofit survive the pandemic, you can survive other crises. So we'll share this with you because this video really express how we mobilize even in the most difficult times, and everything that is happening right now, it's like a bonus. It builds our resiliency and tenacity and grit as entrepreneurs in this company.
The call of that one pineapple farmer became a movement of 30,000 more farmers through Lookwood Initiative.
Yes. So sorry about that. I kind of got removed quickly. So this is really like so that video actually solidify our business, and it also like enhance how we proceed after the pandemic and how to help farmers recover. But more than that, the pandemic is of course over, but climate change is still there. And right now, the Philippines is number one in climate risk, as I mentioned a while ago. So it's disrupting Filipino agriculture, threatening livelihoods and supplies. Actually, this is also, I think, happening in your own countries. So what we're doing in the Philippines, there are sets of problems, and we try to simplify it because we work in a very vocal world, complicated and complex. So we try to stabilize what's really the problem in the Filipino farmers. They need financial support, crops that survive climate change. But there's also a problem because one of our clients is a very, very big catering company, Sodexo. We feed 60,000 employees in the Philippines daily. So most of the global companies that who are that are in our client list, they need more reliable suppliers with climate adaptable harvest. And the consumers want more sustainable and climate conscious products. So we know that all opportunities can become also a good all this problem are becoming actually opportunities. So because we simplify what's the problem the farmers, what's the problem the commissaries work with, what's the problem the consumers, because we know we cannot solve everything. You just need to solve your battle because energy is limited, resources is always limited, especially if you're in developing countries. So what we found out that a solution is we grow sustainably through contract growing and solidify linkages in the Filipino agricultural supply chain. So we've been really working with the farmers. From monocropping, we designed that in a hectare of land, for example, we encourage them to plant minimum 5 different vegetables so that when typhoon would come, and one vegetable would might be damaged, but the others will survive, especially root crops. And another one is it also layers their income. So they have income in a month, in 45 days, in 3 months, in 6 months. And more importantly, it also gives them a change of food environment because most of the farmers, they sell their produce. And what they do with their money is they buy canned goods and instant noodles, which are actually unhealthy. So what we've been trying to do with them, instead of monocropping, some farmers are just planting lettuce. And working with us, they started planting 6 different more vegetables. So it also changes their diets at home because their food environment is actually changed. Their sources of food is changed. So we also focus on transitioning our farmers on adaptation to sustainable agriculture and regenerative farming. And with the commissaries that we work with, for example, with Sodexo, they have now better quality and more reliable suppliers with definite prices because of the contract growing. And lastly, consumers have more healthier and better for the planet products. So this is what we've been doing. We'll try to connect farmers to the market. So this is actually a picture of us with Sodexo and some of our big clients who are multinational companies. And they try to learn from the farmers. And it's not easy. This work is not easy because most of these multinational companies will always challenge you in terms of volume, will always challenge you in terms of of quality, and you need to work it backwards with your farmers. And most of the farmers are so new in this kind of system. They're so new in contract growing because they're always like in debt and embedded in a very unfair trading system, and then sometimes it's also like a problem of logistics because most of our farms are very far. Some are in different islands in the Philippines. So we need to actually ship, some of them, or they need to be on the boat. But basically, what's unique in this system, for several years, our clients are importing goods from countries. So they've been flying vegetables from different countries or even from America and Europe. And now we're trying to transition these companies to actually source local. Most of our clients right now are really sourcing local. We only cater to them some fruits that are growing in the like and pears, for example, because they're growing in the import them. But all the other crops we actually source local, and we work it out with on the Philippine context. So far, this is our group, achievement of milestones. We have built capacity. So farming capacity, we can scale the amount and types of harvest because we can grow systematically with different farmers. We have national scales. We have reached to more than 30,000 farmers in the country. And we can and have operated, on a national scale because of our government links. So government links very important. A lot of private sector didn't want to work with the government because they feel like, the process is slow and, and there's so much, like, for example, under the table or red tape. So what we've been doing is our company and the foundation actually a partner of the Department of Agriculture. We got a license and we got several government support without any red tape and, without any corruption. We're very clean. We just literally help the government design programs and achieve their milestone as well. And lastly, we actually won market leadership in sustainability. And this is our marketing. Even Sodexo won a sustainability award because of our work, and they get more clients and more multinational companies are going into that because we don't import vegetables anymore. We source local, so the carbon footprint is less. And then it impacts a lot of lives socially, and the environmental footprint is very little because it's grown in the Philippine soil. So this is the work of the foundation. So why it is important to work with a foundation? So if you have an agribusiness here, when I started my company, I thought like, because we work with smallholder farmers, we don't work with tract holdings of land. And most of our expenses are actually going to training farmers, capacity building of farmers. And we find a mechanism to develop a foundation that would just take care of really enabling the farmers. So this nonprofit, the foundation is actually working with international organizations, UN agencies, as well as local private foundations and banking institutions that are having programs of farmers. So we created an alliance with all of these ecosystem drivers around the farmers to really deliver what is best and the farmers' lives could be improved. So we only choose several SDGs. So instead of really working to all the sustainable development goals, which cannot be achieved, so these are the several SDGs that we're working. We love to design based on SDGs because they already have their own targets. And we work backwards in all our, design and logistical framework. We also do that in all our outputs and outcomes. We always base on the targets of SDGs. So it shortcut our process of, especially in designing the logistical framework. And it really makes sure that we can measure, because measuring your impact is power. You can market and sell it. Like, for example, in our business, we don't only sell you vegetables and fruits. It comes with sustainable reporting. So we do sustainable ROI, SROI reporting. We also do ESG reporting to our big clients because they need it. And it actually helps our strengthen our position in the market. So in the foundation, we focus on agricultural education. We have a farm school. We have more than 3,000 graduates in the country. And in this farm school this year, we are actually replicating it to two major provinces and regions in the country. We have youth in agriculture, women in agriculture, food and climate change adaptation, and nutrition resilience. So just to have a quick picture and of what's happening, this is actually in Timor-Leste. We're based in the Philippines, but we operate in Southeast Asia. So Timor-Leste now is trying to be part of ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and their president, together with the U.S. Embassy in ASEAN, funded a program to really train the youth on agriculture and agribusiness and also digital marketing. So the picture here, these are actually youth leaders who are working in agriculture in 11 ASEAN countries, including Timor-Leste. So we also have women inclusion in agribusiness. We call them the backbone of our supply chain. So aside from working with the male farmers who are really mostly focused on production, we changed the narrative that the women farmers or the women in the household in farming communities, because we work in a farming family approach, the farmers are not extra farm hands. They're actually important in delivering a successful agribusiness. So we train the women farmers to be the drivers of agribusiness, from post-harvest to quality control to accounting and logistics. They are our monitoring. So we also developed like a framework for our Women Food Producers Association. Actually, I put this in my presentation because this has been our long-running project with the Dutch Embassy in the Philippines. I actually co-founded that with a Dutch ambassador before. So now it has been growing, and we started with 35 women farmers. Now we're reaching more than 1,000 women farmers in the country. And every woman have a specific ID so that they can use this ID to go to the bank. They can use this ID also to attend government projects. And one of the most powerful here in what we're doing, because when agrarian reform happened in the Philippines, the title of the land were named after their husband. So with this program, the women are now added to the land title. So when their names are added in the land title, it changes everything. They can use it, for collateral when they borrow to the bank. They can also attend trainings now because their name is in the registry of the farmers and fishers in the Philippines. So in a nutshell, we're teaching the women on, food security, nutrition resilience, but more so on financial literacy and sustainable livelihood. So each women areas that we are working with, they have savings, a community savings fund, and they are a registered association in the Philippines. Lastly, this is the last of my slide. We work so much in policy influencing because no matter what we do, the changes normally is very beautiful if it's stipulated in a local ordinance or in a policy. So in the Philippines, I think also in different countries are represented in the student pool. We are normally affected by political decisions. When there's a change of mayor, programs change. When there's a change of president, the priorities change. So in everything that we do, for example, in this area, we engage with 10 mayors, mix of mayors who are very powerful and also cities that are very, very powerful, like Quezon City and Pasig City, they're urban cities. But other cities, they belong to geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. So they're very far-flung, hard to reach, with severe malnutrition cases and access to opportunities. So we try to work with the farmers to teach them people's agenda. So we teach our farmers on sustainable practices, but more so teaching them on people's agenda about their farmers' rights. So they could demand from their city agriculture officer or also from their mayors during election. Election is coming in the Philippines in 2 months. So during election, a lot of these politicians would promise. So we teach our farmers to do people's agenda, that after the election, they go to the office of the mayor, they present agenda, they have a list of promises, and we teach them how to carry it through and how to help them run the meetings. So far, we work with more than 8,000 civil society organization members in these 10 municipalities and cities in the Philippines, all over the country. And now it's growing massively because they want to work with us more and more. So for us, at the end of the day, it's really about collaboration. The government can only do so much, private sector can only do so much, civil society can only do so much. But if you work together, there's more strength, there's more engagement, and because of this we share the development. So thank you so much for giving a lecture, and hopefully we really aim that no one is left behind and everyone is really moving forward fairly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cherrie. That was a really comprehensive story and very inspiring. I think there's a question from Martin that I want to pose to Cherrie. He is asking, has the company developed a scalable model that can be adapted to other contexts and leverage on partnerships? And of course, we're interested in your experience in the Philippines, but we also know that you travel around the world inspiring and working with organizations and companies in different parts of the world. So the question of scaling, maybe you will also bring to mind some examples that you've seen elsewhere. But I'm sure that this question is asked a lot to you. So looking forward to your answer, Cherrie.
Yes, definitely. So different parts of scaling actually. So like for example, just in the Philippines, we basically scale because we started from feeding 20,000 people with this catering business, and in partnership with Sodexo, now it's a 60,000. So the scale of feeding people and changing their diets because of this BPO industries, the business process outsourcing or call centers, Filipinos would answer your calls like in the middle of the night because of your queries from different countries. So these people are changing their diets because most of the time the cafeteria food was super unhealthy because whatever is a quick fix, that's it. So the scale is internal, and then the scale to the farmers is another aspect. So more and more, because we actually been trying to bring the chefs to the farmers. Actually, this is also, Herman, to answer one question: what are the challenges? Because we feel that the farmers are so detached from the chefs, so are the front runner of the change, right? So what we did with this, I told our client, I don't want to go begging in this company. As an entrepreneur, you just need to negotiate. I told them, I don't need your business. We need you to transform your business. And we will not sell you vegetables and fruits. We bring it with sustainable reporting, with ESG reporting, because that's what your investors are getting. And also your clients are also wanting this kind of report because they put this in their ESG reporting. So it's really different approach of marketing to scale. So because of that, more and more clients are actually onboarding. And I actually just received a call last week from the CEO of Sodexo, and they said one client is really just wanting to work with us because it comes with a report. It doesn't come just with vegetables and fruits, right? So you scale in your market and your clientele, you scale in the approach of feeding people, And then in that process, we also scale in our farmers. So, for example, Herman, to answer also another question in the chat, how do you support your farmers in climate changes? So, for example, we're introducing different varieties because most of the time, the design, the kitchen, we know what to cook and what they want to prepare. So there are some cabbages that are very round, growing only in highlands. And right now, because of climate change, there's frosting in these highlands in the Philippines, never happened before. So we try to work with this variety from Japan of flat cabbage that are actually growing in lowland so that our lowland farmers can also grow this cabbage. So you scale also in that aspect. And of course, because of our partnership with Sodexo, this is a global company present in 75 countries. And this kind of model is first in the Philippines. They actually launched it in the Philippines. It's called Drive. I presented it in their Asia Pacific conference. And now they want to scale this model in different countries they're present. So first in the Philippines, they want to bring it to Indonesia, they want to bring it to Malaysia, and of course in others. So we want to scale with them, but at the same time, we want to institutionalize how we do it so that when we scale, there's a system that is in place and the structure is better.
Thank you very much, Cherrie. I really like the fact that you're giving a lot of different dimensions to scaling, because I think a lot of people are familiar with scaling just in terms of numbers. You double or triple, replicate whatever you're doing. But I think there's much more to it, as you described. Thank you for kind of highlighting that.
Thank you.
So Cherrie, I also want to thank you very much for being part. I know it's very, very late. I think for all the questions, I want to thank all the participants for being so generous with all your questions. And I'm sorry that we couldn't address all of them. But for now, we have to also be mindful of the time.